story. I haven't told you this. I want anyone in the chat right now, has anyone used this app before? This is an app called Bourbon. Let me know, has anyone used this app? Yes, you have used it, or no, you haven't used it. Okay. Seeing a bunch of no's, a bunch of no's. No, no, no. Okay. Most people haven't even heard of this app. The only way I'm going to guess that you've even heard of this app is if you've heard me talk about it before. But this app. Okay. This app was an app that was created in order to provide a community for bourbon drinkers. So it was an app where you could like check in at locations, share photos, you could tag where you were at. And it was basically for bourbon drinkers to get together in their community and talk about like the local bars and restaurants that had really good bourbon drinks. Okay? Super hyper focused, right? Like we think about social media today and how huge they are, but this social media was super specific and hyper focused, right? You might even dare to say that this social media really had a clear niche, right? Bourbon later became Instagram. Bourbon took its idea, rebranded itself, grew, and branched out into what is now known as Instagram with over 1 billion users. So the very platform that we are training on tonight, the very platform that we are talking about and that we're about to spend an hour obsessing over, got its start as a super niche down platform where you could connect with other bourbon drinkers. And I think that's just such a powerful testimony to what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it's also pretty mind-blowing. It's a fun fact that you can bring up at a party if you want to.
If this is your first niche training, we should probably also mention the other really surprising company that started out super niche. And it was a company that started just selling used books online, nothing else, just used books. You couldn't buy new books. And but that's what they focused on, because there were a lot of other sites, you know, selling new books, etc. And that company was, of course, Amazon. But they started off with that niche before they expanded into everything else. You have to start with the niche. And that's really, really important for you guys to remember. That is number one when it comes to growing your business, your brand, and awareness on Instagram. We keep saying Instagram, but y'all know that this all applies. We say Instagram because it's Insta Club Hub, but y'all know this applies to every social media platform. This applies to podcasting. This applies to Facebook. This applies to just absolutely anything. If you want to grow in 2021, you've got to pick a niche, which basically means pick one topic, pick a thing that you're focused on, and just deliver that. Become known for that before you start doing all the things. Yeah. You pick a niche. Synonyms for the word niche: topic, focus. It's step one, really. It's step one to growing on Instagram. But Mom, what about the big accounts? I'll move our faces so you can see those slides. What about the big accounts? Yeah. So we always want to say, no matter what it is we teach, please be aware, especially if this is the first time you've done a live training with us, we're always going to share with you best practices. And sometimes Brock and I get carried away and we say, you have to do this. But please know, we never mean you have to do something. We mean it's a best practice. And there will always be exceptions. But one pretty major exception when it comes to niche is, and it's really important we point this out, because you're probably, especially if you're in network marketing or if you're in a specific industry, you might notice that the people who are most well-known in your industry, who have really big followings, we often pattern what we're going to do after them, right? Because success leaves clues. So we watch what they do and we're like, okay, I'm going to do what they're doing. But big accounts, people who already have brand awareness, they're in a different place. They didn't just start. The same reason why Amazon can sell everything is the same reason why someone like Gary Vee, or the person who is probably the most well-known in your industry, they can talk about all the things because they already have brand awareness, because they don't need to make any more money, because people already know who they are. And once you reach that tipping point, well, then you do have permission. Not only do you have permission, but people want to know like all the things. Yeah. Right. So when you think about, again, maybe it's the number one person in your network marketing organization, or maybe it's the number one realtor, or maybe it's an influencer who talks about all the things. I guarantee that they started off niche, myself included. And I say this because many of you are going to start following me and you're going to go, but wait, it's confusing. Shalene talks about all kinds of things. That's because I already have brand awareness. I'm not using my Instagram to make money. I'm using my platform now to bring to light those things that I'm very passionate about and that I believe are my purpose for this season. So like right now at the moment, I'm talking a lot about bringing down this plastic surgeon who needs to be stopped. But I don't know what's going to happen in next season, but I'll be talking about that. But keep this in mind. When I first started, the only thing I posted was fitness until I became known for that. Then I started posting business and marketing. And I only posted business and marketing. And then once you reach this tipping point, then you can talk about all the things. But if you do that before you're known, you're going to confuse people. And as they say, when you confuse, you lose. You're going to lose followers. You're going to lose customers. You lose integrity. You lose awareness.
Yeah. When you confuse, you lose. I think it was a great example, Mom. Like you said, you started with fitness. Gary Vee started with wine. Like every big business, every big influencer, they started with a niche. And I like to think of it kind of like a tree. Like you build the strong trunk first, and then you can branch out into a million different directions. But if you start branching out before you ever build the trunk of the tree, well, there's a reason that there's no such thing as a 60-foot tall bush, right? Like bushes can only be so tall because they branched out before they built their trunk. So when you confuse, you lose. You got to build your platform with the niche first, and then you can always branch out later. But we here at the Insta Club Hub, we define niche in two parts. And there's a lot of different definitions of niche out on the internet and a lot of different coaches and experts who might use it differently, but this is what we mean when we say niche. We define it in two parts. Part of it is who you serve, that specific group. So let's think about that app Bourbon that I shared earlier. Their specific group was bourbon drinkers. My group, who I serve, is entrepreneurs and creators. So think about, and we're going to talk about this at length tonight and help you figure these two things out. So don't even worry. But one of the parts is who you serve. And the second part is how you serve them, or what you do, what you post about.
Brock, I just want to mention, because we've got a lot of new people are on one of our trainings for the very first time. We want to say this. You should be taking notes. You shouldn't be typing questions yet in the chat. If you're typing questions in the chat, then what's happening is you're asking questions that we haven't even got to those. We're going to answer these questions. And when you're typing a question, you're not listening to what we're teaching. You just can't do two things at once. You've got to take notes. If at the end you have questions or you need clarity on something we've just said, I tell you to just hold on, because every question I see so far, I'm like, they're jumping way ahead. We're going to explain this to you. Number one. Number two, and then Brock, I know you announced or shared this right in the beginning, but for those who just jumped on, when you guys ask questions that are off the topic that we're discussing tonight, like for example, how do I get music on my reels, or where do I put my hashtags? Brock mentioned this in the beginning, but you need to watch the base lessons. And we teach when we do a specific specialty training, we teach assuming you already have that base level of knowledge. So it's not that we're ignoring your questions, it's that we're honoring those people who have followed through and watched those base trainings, because that is 101. If you're trying to grow your brand and business on Instagram, y'all, that's what you paid for. You need to start with that. If you haven't watched that, then please just stick to questions tonight on our training, and you're going to watch those right after we're done, because they're fast, they're super fast, and they're going to bring you up to speed. So having said that, please hold your questions as much as possible. I mean, unless we've really said something that you need clarification on, but because I promise we're going to answer them for you, and you're going to get so much more out of this training if you just take notes as we're teaching.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Got it when you get it. But Mom, why does niche matter? Why does having a niche matter?
It's clarity, because if it's just like Amazon, and we're going to keep going back to these big examples, but it's true for any brand. It's true for Brock. So I'll use Brock as an example. Brock is, when we first started doing this, he was posting a lot on Instagram tips, but also stuff about his relationship and stuff about football and family and Drake and like whatever else, right? And his account was growing slowly. And then he said, I need to force myself to do the thing that I'm uncomfortable, but I'm telling everyone else I do. And I need to, even though all these other things I'm interested in, all these other things I could teach on, all these other things I have experience and knowledge and passion for, But then why is someone going to tell their friend to follow me? Are they going to say, oh, you're going to love him? He talks about relationships and Drake quotes and his family and Instagram. No, I need to be known for one thing so that people can clearly identify why they should follow you. It tells people what you're going to post. It tells you what you're not going to post. Your followers know what they can expect from you. They know why they should follow you. It tells them exactly what they need to know if they're, you know, we all think about this, like, should I follow this person or do I need to follow this person? And if it's not really clear what it is you post on like 3 different topics and they're very different, I'm probably not going to follow you because most of us are looking for something very specific.
Yeah.
It's also how you become known as an expert. So when Brock switched to just posting about Instagram, his account absolutely blew up. And this isn't true just for Brock or myself or anyone. I mean, this is true for the tens of thousands now of members who are a part of this community. We poll you guys all the time to figure out, okay, which of our members are growing the fastest? Which ones are still stagnant? And the ones who are stagnant are the ones who they don't stand out because they're still posting about a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the final one is just it helps you stand out in that crowded market. If you're listening right now and you're like, well, I do what a lot of other people do, or I'm a network marketer, or I'm in the industry, the same industry as a lot of different people, like it feels very saturated. Mm-hmm. The way you can stand out is by niching down, by talking to a specific group about a specific problem. And so that's why I say the majority of your feed posts, we're talking about feed posts right now, so please write this down in your notes. The majority of your feed posts, so your reels, your carousel, your pictures, the things you post to your feed, they should be related to your niche. I like to say that your goal should be that all of your feed posts are related to your niche. Now, there's always going to be the exception. There's always going to be, hey, there's a special anniversary, there's a birthday, there's an important holiday you want to celebrate. You know, there's always going to be exceptions, but those should be the exceptions. Those shouldn't be a 50-50 split. Those shouldn't be the majority. The majority of your feed posts should be related to your niche, which we're going to help you figure out in just a second. And for everyone whose anxiety just went through the roof because you're like, but Brock, I have so many different passions and interests and hobbies. How could I ever talk about just one? I do have my faith, and I do love skiing, and I do love wine, and I do have a super cute puppy, and I do have 3 children. How? I have so many passions. We all have so many passions. And stories are where you can share those things. Your Instagram stories can be about anything and everything. I like to say that you can let your freak flag fly on your, go ahead and say that 3 times fast. Your freak flag fly. You can let your freak flag fly on your Instagram stories. Got it when you get it. Feed is niche. Stories, your freak flag can fly. Okay. Stories can be about anything and everything. Got it when you get it. Awesome.
So Brock, let's talk about some of the, you know, because I'm already seeing these objections already popping up in the chat. I can see them already. Like, people are saying like, hey, well, what if my followers get bored if I'm only posting about one thing? I've got so many different passions. People love it when I post about my dog. And I have these other things. How do I know which one is the best? And if I'm just posting about this one niche, then how do I ever sell? So then is my niche my product? And would anyone follow me for that? And does this mean that like if I pick a niche, it always has to be me posting about it? And does this mean that I can't talk about fill in the blank? Okay, so let me go through these quickly. No, your followers will not get bored because what you're going to do is start attracting people who are looking for what it is you have. And we're going to teach you how you can avoid burnout or creating content that is so repetitive that it always feels the same, especially when you're over branding your content. Everything's the same color, the images look the same, you're using the same filters, it's the same pose, it's the same, it starts to look the same. It's like white noise.
Yeah.
So that's number 1, is we're going to teach you how to break that monotony up. Number 2 is, I know you've got a lot of passions, and Amazon had a lot of different things that they could sell. And you have permission to talk about all those passions in your stories. So where do you show the world all the things you're interested in? This is a pop quiz right now. Do you do that on your feed or in your stories?
Great. Okay, everyone's listening. I just wanted to interject about, won't my followers get bored? What I always like to say is, people don't get bored if they're receiving value. Would you be bored if someone handed you a $20 bill every single day? If all of your posts are valuable, then people are going to keep showing up and they're not going to get bored. But I'll let you continue, Mom.
And you don't sell on your feed anyways. If you try to sell on your feed, you will see a diminished return. You'll lose followers. Instagram doesn't push you out into the algorithm. So it's not where you sell anyways. You sell in your stories, and we've got trainings that will teach you how to do that. We're not covering that tonight. We're not teaching you how to sell tonight. We have trainings that are inside Insta Club Hub that teach you how to sell. But if you're gonna sell, you have to attract more people. And the only way you're gonna attract more people is if you niched down. Now, it doesn't have to be all your content, but it does need to be niched content. And we'll talk a little bit about that tonight, but for those of you who are like, I just don't have enough creative content in this niche, you're gonna watch the training inside Insta Club Hub that's called creating, it's one of our live trainings. You'll find under the live training, like what to post, okay? And then lastly, does this mean I can't talk about blah, blah, blah? Listen, we don't make up the rules. You can do whatever you want. We're just telling you what you need to do if you want to grow faster, and not just grow faster, but like grow with the real followers who really need what you have and what they want, what you have.
Absolutely. So here's an analogy that we like to use, and this might help you when thinking about the it might help you thinking about niche, right? You try on your niche. You're just trying it on. Part of just trying on your niche is that there's no perfect niche. There's no perfect niche. There's no one soulmate niche. There's no one dream niche that you're destined to be with for the rest of your life. The average entrepreneur will be in a different career or profession in 5 years. They'll be doing something different than they are today. So if you're in network marketing with one company today, you might be with a totally different company 5 years from now. So there is no one perfect soulmate niche. And I want everyone to, first of all, just take a deep breath, because there is no perfect niche. There is no one ideal niche for you. Next, you can only try on one at a time. If you're trying to try on 2 different t-shirts at the same time, well, neither one of them is going to look good. That's common sense. If you're trying to try on 2 different pairs of sunglasses at the same time, it makes sense that neither one of them would look good. You can only try on one niche at a time. You can only try on one niche at a time. So you can't be like, oh, I just finished this great training with Brock and Shalene. Now I'm going to pick these 2 niches and try them both out and see which one wins. Unfortunately, you can't do that. Step 3 is give it some time. If it's been a week, of course, you're not going to see results, because people have been following you for a long time. So within a week, most people who are following you, they're not even going to realize you've changed your niche. So if you're picking a new niche, if you're rebranding, maybe you're niching down for the first time, you're picking a new focus, maybe this is your first time ever even hearing about this, so you're going to spend tonight doing some homework and coming up with your focus, give it some time. Give it 90 days. And the larger the account that you have, the more followers that you already have, likely the more challenging it's going to be for you to start over. So if you have a smaller following, that should be great news, because it's easier to start over when you only have a couple hundred followers versus when you have a couple 100,000. I mean, could you imagine if all of a sudden I started only posting about like rock climbing tips? My whole following would be like, what the heck is going on here? So give it some time. And then finally, you can always change. After a certain amount, after those 90 days, you can always change. You're not getting a tattoo of your niche across your forehead. You're not marrying your niche and tying the knot. You can always change, right? There's no perfect soulmate niche. You can always change. You just like Amazon, just like bourbon, just like Gary Vee, just like my mom, you can always change and branch out and readjust and pivot. You can always change. Absolutely.
Here's the thing. When you try to appeal to everyone, or even 3 different groups of people, you will not stand out. When you try to appeal to everyone, you stand out from no one.
Yeah.
If you want to stand out, you have to pick a niche.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just that simple.
I want to give this example because I think this is a great example for people. It really
Hey, Brock, before
clearly,
you do you mind if I answer a couple questions I keep seeing over and over and over?
Go for it, Mom. Absolutely.
Okay, so before we get to the end, I see a lot of people asking already, is this my personal account or my business account? Let's just say that everyone here, obviously, you're here to grow your business account. So there's your answer. Number two, people are saying, do I need to start my account over? No. But what you might need to do, or start a new account, not necessarily. That's up to you. What you do need to do is niche down and understand that you're probably going to lose a considerable number of followers who aren't interested in your, let's say if we're using Brock as an example, like they're only there because they're following you for the football stuff or the relationship stuff. And now you're just posting about Instagram and they're like, I'm not trying to grow my Instagram account. Well, fine, you're going to lose those people, but those people were never going to be customers anyways. Yeah. And for those of you who are saying like, well, should I have multiple accounts? Sure. If you have a team, if you have a team managing your social media, that makes sense. Brock and I both have members of a team who help us manage, like I think 10 different Instagram accounts. And I've got I don't run those. The only one I run is my own personal one. And even that one, I've got 3 people who help me. So unless you have a team, running multiple accounts is like adopting quadruplets, newborn quadruplets. Good luck with that.
Yeah, for real. Mom, I'll pull up these slides and let's make our, you know what, I'll make us real tiny. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to give this example because I think this helps people when thinking about niche. And especially if you're the type of person who you're listening right now and you're like, but I don't want to ostracize people, or I don't want to turn people away, or I don't want to, you know, put myself in one niche and then that causes other people to not start following me. First of all, this isn't going to turn into a therapy session, but let me just say that's a scarcity mindset. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about abundance versus scarcity, but if you're worried that there's not enough people to go around, there are 1 billion users on Instagram, and I promise you there's enough for whatever niche you're going to end up picking tonight. But I want to give this story real quick. All right, so this is Julie. I worked with Julie about 1 year ago, and she was a travel planner. She is a travel planner. And this is what her bio originally said. It originally said, curating personalized travel recommendations and one-of-a-kind trip plans for locales around the world. Sounds great. You know, sounds like what you would expect. Sounds typical of what you would expect from a travel planner, right? Curating personalized travel recommendations, like it's these big, broad, generic, everyday terms. But I'll tell you the honest truth. When Brock Johnson, when I land on her page, I don't know if she's a good fit for me. I don't know if I should work with her because there's nothing specific in that sentence. Curating personalized travel recommendations and one-of-a-kind trips for locales around. That's what every travel planner does, Julie. That's what everyone does. So I don't know if she's right for me. And so I'm not likely to follow her. I'm not likely to work with her. I'm not likely to become a customer. But I worked with her and I had a conversation with her. And Julie said, Brock, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't book travel for just anyone. I book travel for someone who's like traveling on a budget. I book travel for someone who wants to stay in a tent or in a national park. I book travel for someone who's looking for like the off the beaten path travel. I don't book travel for people who want to stay at like the all expenses paid resort. That's the kind of person who I book travel for. And I was like, Julie, oh my gosh, you book travel for me. Like you are my ideal travel agent. And so we reworked her bio and it now says, I plan off the beaten path, awe-inspiring, personalized trips for millennials. So she's very clear. I'm not talking to, you know, college students. I'm not talking to people in their 40s and 50s. I'm talking to the very specific generation of millennials. And I help them with stress-free travel, not your average travel agent. And so we had this conversation and I was like, Julie, you are my ideal travel agent. But I would have never known that. And you would have never gotten my follow if you hadn't been specific in your bio. And guess what? My mom, dad, I love you to death. You guys aren't going to work with Julie because the Airbnb you're staying at in New York right now, that's not off the beaten path personalized trips for, you know, millennials traveling on a budget. That's not you guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. there's enough to go around. But I thought this was just a great example of how your niche attracts your ideal customers.
Your dad and I have a budget. It's just a little different than your budget.
Absolutely. So how do you pick? This is what everyone's been asking. I saw a million questions earlier. How do you pick? How do I pick? How do I pick for a blogger? How do I pick for network marketers? This is how you pick, regardless of your profession or industry. All right, get out a pen and piece of paper, just like my mom just did. Yeah. Step one, write down a list of the different groups or demographics that you are either currently a part of or that you were a part of. So I want everyone right now, I'll pause for just a second and I'll give you time. And also you can do this for homework. This is kind of part of our worksheet as we move through tonight, but I'll give everyone, let's say 30 seconds right now to just spit out whatever comes to mind, the first thing that comes to mind when I say write down the groups or demographics. And here's some examples. A young mom, you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you just were a college student, like you just graduated within the last 5-10 years. Maybe you're a Midwestern woman. Maybe you're a parent with ADHD. But I want you to get specific with these groups and demographics. Don't just say, well, I'm a woman. I'm from the United States. I live on planet Earth.
Yeah, think about things that you relate to, you associate with, you feel like you're part of this community. Like I really have passion for this type of individual or this particular group.
We'll just give everyone a second just to write some of these down.
Yeah, exactly. Like Nellie just said, women who've experienced abuse. Would that be survivors, women who are currently in it, women who are trying to come out of it?
Gotcha. And then the second step, and it's okay, you can do this for homework. We're not going to take these slides down just yet. But the second step is to create a list of ways that you could help each of these groups. And so this is the part that might require a little bit more thought, but you create a list of ways that you could help each of these groups. And I think a helpful way to think about this is, what problem have I recently solved in my life? Or what do I have figured out now that I didn't have figured out a year ago or 2 years ago? Or here's another great way to think about it. If I could go back to 5 years ago and talk to myself from 5 years ago, what would I tell that person? What advice would I give my younger self? You create a list of ways that you could help these people. So here are some examples as you're writing down on your pen and piece of paper. Here are some examples. So maybe, you're a young mom and you're really good at time management. Like all the other moms are always running late for practice, and they're always, dropping their kids off late at school, but you're great at time management. You're great at taking the kids to all the games and the sleepovers and the practices and all that. Entrepreneurship. Maybe you are great at mindset stuff and like you're great at just getting started. Like that's your jam. You can get people to get started. So think about ways that you could help each of these groups.
And Brock, we're talking a lot to those of you who are entrepreneurs that, or those of you who have something you want to offer, something you want to sell. But I also know that there's many of you on who you haven't figured out what it is you want to sell yet. Maybe you want to monetize your influence. Well, that's still something that you can tap into, like, how do I want to help people? And for those of you who have maybe a product you want to offer, and so you're thinking to yourself, I don't know how I'm helping people who want to buy handmade earrings from Etsy. Sure you do. So now you're talking about like, well, yeah, these are people who I want to help find really creative, one of a kind or unique, or items that are made by a craftsman. Like, so think about, the reason why you started doing what you're doing. You saw a need. So think about those things.
And I think another thing that I want to say, a disclaimer I want to make, is that you want to get specific with these things. The more specific, the better. I saw someone in the chat said, I help busy bodies. That's just saying busy people, which all people are busy. And so I want you to get specific. If you are like, okay, my niche is women, I help women get fit. Well, first of all, women is half the planet. That's 4 billion people you're trying to help. Let's get more specific. It's a great first step, but it's not your last step. If you said, I help men get fit, that's a great first step. It's not your last step. Let's get more specific than just men or women or people or bodies. Let's get specific with who is this group and get specific with what you're going to do for them. And we'll give some more examples later about, what if you own a boutique and like your boutique isn't like helping people do something, or like, what if you're an artist? Your art isn't like helping people. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But this is your worksheet. This is your workbook, if you will. So take a screenshot of this right now. Take a picture if you haven't already. If you haven't already written down these 2 different things, then go ahead and take a screenshot right now or write them down real quick before we move on. Again, it's this group and it's what you do for the group.
So I just want to, and we're going to go through lots of these examples, but anytime I see a question that I can address to the group, I want you guys to think of your own business. So for example, I saw Jenny said, I'm a wedding cake designer. I'm not sure how I would niche that down or what specifically makes me stand out. Well, that is a question we can't answer, but you'll need to. Every single one of you, I promise, and please don't take this personal, but there are hundreds of thousands of people who do exactly what you do. So the only way you're going to stand out is if you figure out and you're willing to, you're bold enough, you're courageous enough to say, and Jenny, I'm just going to make this up. You're bold enough to say, I am a wedding cake designer who designs really cool, creative cakes for the LGBTQ community. Or I'm a wedding designer who I design cakes that don't look like you got them from Ralph's, that they're really creative and unique, and they use all organic, vegan ingredients. Like, so pick, you've got to be willing to go, this is something I do probably better than other people. For example, I teach business and marketing, but there's a million people who do that. I teach business and marketing to people who are easily distracted, specifically people who are either diagnosed with ADHD or who just probably do have ADHD or on the spectrum. That's who I want to speak to. And to those, that might mean someone who's like my husband, who's like very focused and like remembers everything and can stay on track. I might not relate to that entrepreneur as much as the person whose brain pops all over the place like mine. And I have to be okay with the fact that that person might not like doing business with me. But if I'm bold enough and courageous enough to say, this is who I am and that's who I want to talk to, then the person who's like, oh my God, that's me. They're going to raise their hand and they're going to come charging at me versus someone who's like, oh, she just teaches business and marketing. See the difference?
Yeah. All right. So we're about to go through a ton of examples. Like I think it's literally 15 different examples. So rather than copying and pasting your message over and over again in the chat, should I do this or this? Should my niche be this or this? Just listen right now. And you're going to hear a lot of different examples, and they might strike some inspiration in you. And some of these people will note when and who they are. Some of these people are network marketers, and their niche might not even tell you anything about network marketing. Some of these people, they might own a boutique and they never show their face. Some of these people are artists. So we're going to go through each of these and we're going to break them down in 3 categories. The category of industry, the category of category, which is like you're a little bit more specific than your industry, and then what their specific niche is. So let's go through these one by one.
Okay, so this is a great one. This is someone who does microblading, okay? So let's talk about first, this is her industry is beauty. That's her industry. Category is permanent makeup. That's what category she's in the industry of beauty. But more specifically, she does microblading eyebrows for women in Southern California. Now that's really important. If she doesn't say Southern California, then she's going to attract people who she can't serve. She's going to attract people who she can't provide them services. So it's very important that we are super clear on not just who we serve, but a little bit about who they are.
And like, she also does tattoos. She also does beauty. So like, she could have all these other passions. She has a super cute dog named Whiskey. She has an entire family. Like, she could post about all of these different things, but she focuses on her niche, and that's what allowed her to grow her business. This is another one. This is our wonderful friend Warren, who owns Octonation. Octonation. It's an Instagram account that only posts about octopuses. So his industry is biology.
Octopi,
His category is ocean animals. And he could post about whales and dolphins and sharks and all the different fish of the sea, but he only posts about octopuses. And he has over 200,000 followers, including Ariana Grande, Dwight Howard, just to name a few, Shalene Johnson, just to name a few.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan follows Octopus Nation. Octopus positivity and curiosity for octopus fans. It's all about octopuses, and it's not showing just any video of them. It's not showing them in their traditional, like the Kraken from the deep, narrative. It's positivity about octopuses, and he's got over 200,000 followers. So cool.
This next example again is someone who's in the beauty industry. Her category is hair, but specifically, her niche is one that serves Black women who want to celebrate naturally curly hair, but most specifically, Black women in their 20s and 30s. That means she's not creating content for her mom. She's not creating content, sorry, for the women who are in their 40s and 50s who maybe are interested in a different style or a different vibe, have a different interest. You speak a certain way when you totally relate to the person who's in the room. Have you guys ever had this happen where you walk into a room and you're talking to a big group of people and you don't necessarily know how old they are, their backgrounds, what they're into, what they like, all those things. You speak a little more generically. You're not really yourself. But if you walk into a room and you know everyone and we have everything in common, we're the same age, we have the same experiences, we listen to the same music, we have the same problems, man, you are freaking yourself and people love you. Those people who are there because they're like, I'm just like you. So the more we niche down and understand who we're speaking to, the more authentic your voice will be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's another great one. This is an artist example. So if you're an artist listening right now, first of all, let me just say that your art is your niche. Like that's what you're sharing. That's most likely going to be your niche. Stick to your niche. Like if you're an artist, people are following you for the art that you create. So keep sharing that art. If you're an artist, people aren't following you to see you out having drinks with your husband and your kids on their first day of school and your political views and all of that. If you're an artist, people are following you for their art. So give them as much of it as you can. Here's an example. Here's Casey of Wonderlust Skulls. Art is the category. Longhorn skull art is the industry. Longhorn skull art is the category. So that's already pretty specific. And her niche is authentic Longhorn skull art. And she has in her bio, it says to transform your space, which I think is a really cool thing that she's done. She's not just saying, well, this is my art, this is what I do, but she even adds what her art does for you. It transforms your space. And I got to tell you, I want a piece of her art in my living room. It's so, so rad, but she sticks to her niche. And as you can see by some of these pictures in the screenshot, it's only pictures of her art. It's not everything else she's into. It's just the art.
This is my girl, Julie A. Ledbetter. So Julie, she's in health and wellness. So like many of you, she may be a health and fitness coach. Specifically in health and fitness, her specific category is nutrition. Specifically, she's targeting women, but even more specifically, she helps women in their 20s and 30s who have past eating disorders and struggles with food overcome that with mindset and nutrition. That's very specific. So for those of you who are saying like, I help women get their sexy back. Well, women what age? And what does get their sexy back mean? Like, what is the problem you're helping them solve? Like there's a problem. Be specific about the problem. Don't be so broad because you're trying to talk to everybody. Don't be afraid. Even though I speak to women who are in their 40s and 50s, who are easily distracted and want to be entrepreneurs, who care about helping the world. There's also plenty of men who are on this call who followed my account because the content speaks to them, because I'm thinking of this person, but I'm not saying those of you who are 20s or in your 30s or in your 40s can't look at my content. It's what I'm saying is I'm thinking about that person when I'm creating my content, and that allows me to be much more me. So much of this is to help you stand out and be more authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another example. This is a physical business, which isn't tied to any one individual. It's at I Am Blacklit, has no individual like face of the brand. Their industry is entrepreneurship. Their category is a subscription box, so it's a physical product. And their niche is as a monthly subscription box highlighting Black authors and entrepreneurs. So all of their posts are relating to these Black authors and entrepreneurs and the things that they create or provide. So this is a page that isn't all about like, you know, here's this product, go buy this product, or you know, all about this one individual or this one person. It's about highlighting this group or this community, similar to Octonation is all about the group or the community. And that's really, really powerful, really powerful.
Okay, this next one is our friend Jordan Kales, and Jordan has an account that's specific. Well, let's go through the order here. So specifically, he is, his industry is business. The category is marketing. And you could say, oh, well, he speaks to people who want to help with online sales. Well, that's not specific enough. Jordan has niched it down to help individuals who want help selling on social media, entrepreneurs who want to learn how to sell, just sell on social media.
And he even gets more specific in his bio by saying that he helps you close sales, and he helps you with exactly what to say and what strategies to use when people object to selling or when they don't want to buy your product. So he is not even just sales with Kales, he's closing sales with Kales. He talked about like that last piece of the sale where you convert someone to from a follower to a customer. And that's a super specific niche, but he's grown it. He's got way more followers than this now. He's awesome.
I love this. Raquan, I hope I said your name correctly, says, I help millennials fix their credit and shift their finances. Love it.
Here's a perfect example, sales with Kales. This screenshot was taken about 4 or 5 months ago when he had 36,000 followers. He's now at 70,000 followers. So he's doubled his following in the last 6 months.
Love that.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Here's another example. This person is my fiance, Taylor. Personal development is her industry. She is a life coach, so that's her category. But her niche, which she spent a while, you know, picking a couple different niches, posting about a few different personal development things, habits and goals and mindset, all relating to personal development, but there wasn't a clear niche until recently when she got really specific with boundary setting for overwhelmed young women. And that's what the focus is of most of her posts recently. And she's grown by about 10, that she told me today, she's grown by 10,000 followers in the last month and a half. So she's doubled her following in the last month and a half. And it's from her reels. It's from the posts she's making. It's not from the shout outs that I've given her. It's from her reels going viral and her posts doing really well because she's identified her niche.
This next example is home workouts, right? So this is, their industry would be health and fitness. Specifically, their category would be home workouts. But this is somebody who just focuses on creative home workouts for someone who has small kids at home. And that's all that she posts. It is, so if you're going to follow her account, could she post content about nutrition? Of course she could. Could she post about parenting? Of course she could. Does she probably know a lot about being organized and homeschooling? And I don't know if she homeschools, but like a lot of other things that she could be posting about. But if you're going to follow her account, you're going to know why you're following it, because she's going to show you exactly how to get fit at home if you have small children.
Really, really cool. This is one of my favorite accounts right now. Mobility Duo. They've doubled their following recently. They're Insta Clubbers. They're in the health and wellness field. They are a couple who run their Instagram account together. Their category is physical therapy, but their niche, listen to how specific this niche is. Injury prevention exercises for snowboarders. So every single one of their posts is like yoga and exercise routines and movements and functional strength, specifically, not just for, you know, skiers or snowboarders or winter sports people or extreme athletes, specifically for snowboarders. And so is a skier going to follow them? Probably not, but maybe, because a lot of the stuff applies. Is someone who's a skateboarder going to follow them? Maybe, but they've specifically niched down to snowboarders, and that's allowed them to grow so much more. I think it's such a great example of a specific niche.
Are we on the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this next one is, again, mental health is the industry, or you could even say health is the industry, mental health. Their categories is someone who's a psychotherapist, but specifically this account helps women who need to grow or want to grow after coming out of a toxic relationship.
And they have over 150, or I think 100, almost 150,000 followers now. And it's specifically for people who are healing from a toxic relationship. This is Michael Elefante, who he's growing now on Instagram. He's got about 10 or 11,000 followers on Instagram. He's got over 500,000 over on TikTok. So like we said, this applies to TikTok, this applies to Twitter, to YouTube, to podcasting. This is everything. He's got 500,000 over on TikTok. His industry is finance. His category is investing. So if you're a real estate agent, listen up right now. And this is his niche: teaching millennials how to be financially free with Airbnb investing. So if you're a realtor, you don't just sell homes. You don't just help people buy homes. You help a specific group with a specific aspect of real estate or of investing or of whatever it is that your industry is.
Realtors have been doing this forever. And what I see most realtors, the biggest mistakes I see them making on Instagram is they're just posting about real estate in general, and they're forgetting what makes them special. You know, it used to be, if you wanted to buy in a certain neighborhood, you found the realtor who knew that neighborhood inside and out. And that particular neighborhood is going to target a particular age buyer with a certain bracket of income, with a certain style and taste. And so if that's the type of realtor that you are, then you've got to think about, like, how am I going to stand out? Who is it that I'm trying to attract? And am I trying to attract people globally, or am I trying to attract people that I can actually work with in person? And I say that because I don't know the answer. Some of you might be in real estate, but you're trying to grow your brand in general. And maybe you're trying to grow it for a number of reasons. You want to move into investing or DIY, or there's any number of reasons why you might be growing your brand. But for most realtors, you're trying to attract buyers that you can represent in your area, but not necessarily. So ask yourself, who is it I'm best at helping?
Yeah.
And then write down everything you can think about them. How old are they? And listen, when I ask you that question, I know every one of you is like, well, it's hard to say because I've got some people who are I've got people who follow me who are in their 20s and in their teens. I mean, there are people on right now who aren't even 20 years old. I'm not saying I'm excluding those people. I'm saying, like, who specifically am I the best at helping? And everyone else is going to show up because I'm going to be so confident in what it is I can do and how it is I show up. But I've got to think about, like, who specifically am I the best at helping?
Yeah. And I think another thing that I want to add is that you should use terms in your bio, and when you're creating your niche or finding your focus, use terms that your ideal audience would use. So here's an example of this. When we did our boot camp a couple of weeks ago, Mom, someone said, my niche is beginner movement enthusiasts.
Oh yeah, I remember.
They said, my group of people is beginner movement enthusiasts. And I said, what the heck is a beginner movement enthusiast? If beginner movement enthusiasts know that that's what they call themselves, like if that's what they refer to themselves as, then go ahead and use the term beginner movement enthusiast. But don't use a term because it's some cool, creative, fancy, sounds good, catchy marketing jingle. Use the terms that they use. So if you're attracting someone who's new to yoga, call them people who are new to yoga, not beginner movement enthusiasts. Get specific, but use the terms that they use. I also saw someone earlier said, well, my niche is I help wine lovers learn to drink wine again. Well, if someone calls themselves a wine lover, they're probably drinking wine already, right? So think about the terms that they would use to describe themselves, and not just some fancy marketing lingo that you would want to use.
Yvette, so I want to use this example. She said, I create handcrafted sustainable clothing, fashion for the alternative community. I have no idea if I belong to this or not. So for example, I like fashion. I like some handcrafted fashion. I love sustainable fashion. Am I part of the alternative community? I don't know. So first of all, handcrafted sustainable fashion, what does that mean? Does that mean it's for people who are you targeting? How old is he or she? What are they into? Are they into punk rock? Are they into anime? Are they into, what specifically do you mean by that? Are they into pinup style? And then how old are they? And when you say alternative community, tell me what the alternative, be specific. Tell
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what do you do with all this? We've already said one thing you do with all this niche information is you post about your niche. The majority of your feed posts should be related to your niche. In case you missed it when we said that earlier, the majority of your feed posts should be related to your niche. And we've already shown some examples of bios, but this is what we like to call your niche statement. And this is another thing that you can do once you have this group identified and this problem clearly written down, is you put this in the first line of your bio. And you can use this little quote right here like a Mad Lib. It's just, not as funny of a traditional Mad Lib, but it's I help group with problem. And I want to say this before we move any further. You can get more spicy if you want. If you want to let your freak flag fly a little bit, you can do that. Just make sure you are using terms that your audience would use. You don't have to say I help. You could say I teach, I inspire, I share, I lead, I guide, I mentor. You can change the verb. You can change the order of the sentence. Some people like to say, I'm on a mission to help certain group with certain problem. But this is one example. Here's another example that we have for you. And this is for, maybe if you're a part of a community or you have an entire staff or team, you could say, we create, whatever your creation is, we create a monthly subscription box for Black entrepreneurs and authors. We create daily comedy posts for golden retriever lovers, whatever your creation is and whatever your group is. We create rock climbing strategies for rock climbing experts. The group and the creation, and then one more. And of course, these all go in the first line of your bio. And the reason that it goes in the first line of your bio is that the average Instagram user decides in less than 7 seconds if they're going to follow you. Got it when you get it. The average Instagram user decides in less than 7 seconds if they're going to follow you. So if your bio is like, I'm a mom of 3 fur babies, and I'm a wine enthusiast, and I'm a beginner rock climber, and I have 2 kids, and I'm a Virgo, and these are my 3 favorite emojis, and I spent a month in Spain one time, you've lost my attention. You need to get really specific with this first line. This is how you win people over. This is how you get people to actually press follow. And so here's our third example of what that first line might look like. I share topic of your posts for the group that you're sharing about. So maybe I share daily videos of my dog talking with buttons for language enthusiasts.
You really pronounce those T's, buttons.
Buttons, yeah.
I say buttons. There's no T when I say it. I just say buttons.
Buttons, B-U-D-O-N, buttons.
I don't even know if there's a D in there. I think it's just buttons. Buttons. Yeah, there's no.
It's just like it's B-U-O-N.
Buttons. Okay, here's another one. So if you sell something, so there are some exceptions, right? There are certain accounts where people are just following it. Like, so some of you may follow a fashion account, or you might follow an account that like it sells what we call what are they called, Brock, when you just want to grab it and buy it?
Impulse buys.
Yeah, impulse buys. Okay. So for example, let's say you make handmade earrings and you sell them on Etsy. You could say, I sell or I feature the coolest lightweight handcrafted earrings for women who want to make a statement. Or I sell bold handcrafted jewelry for women who love fashion over 40. Like, so just be specific so that people understand like, okay, oh, I'm following this account because. So I want to address a few things. Angie, and I'm not picking on Angie, but Angie said, I'm really going to struggle with this. And no, that's a mindset problem. So when we call attention to something like that, you've just given the struggle energy. There's not a person on here, including myself or Brock, who doesn't struggle with this to some point. But if you tell yourself, I'm going to struggle with this, then your struggle is going to be magnified because you've just given it power and energy. You have to say, this is going to be a challenge I will overcome. Yeah. I'm going to figure this out. So please type in the comments right now. I will figure this out. I'm up for the challenge. Type in the comments. I am up for the challenge. Yeah. Because this is important. And listen, there's a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs and claim that they're in business. And you know, sometimes I hear people say, oh, well, not everyone's cut out for business, or I picked a business that failed. Let's be frank. I've been doing business now for 30 years. Not everyone's cut out for business. Not everyone's cut out to be a successful entrepreneur. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, let me just get real with you. It's hard and it's a struggle. And you have to be able to put in the work and stop being a quitter and stop telling yourself this is going to be hard for me. I don't get it. It's not working. I tried. Don't even come in our chat and say, I tried, but it didn't work, because we are not going to listen to it. You know why? Because Brock and I have already learned that doesn't help anybody. And all you're doing is poisoning the chat when you comment negative comments. When we can see you typing your negative thoughts, you're taking that negative thought, which we all have. Like, there's no judgment in that. We all have negative thoughts, but when you take that negative thought and you put it in writing, you're giving it so much power. And that is not going to help you as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you have to see what is possible and focus on what's possible. Because if you focus on the obstacles, that's what you're going to run smack dab into. And no, you won't be successful. Focus on the possibility. Focus on the fact that this is going to happen to you because no one has your persistence. No one cares as much about you. No one is going to fight as hard as you, but this isn't going to be easy. This isn't going to happen in a month. You are in Insta Club Hub because you want to be here for the long haul. You want to be successful. It doesn't, listen, we would be lying to you if we said this is going to happen in a month. It won't. It takes time. And if you're not down with putting in the time to be an entrepreneur, then quit now because you're not cut out for it. The only people who are cut out to be successful as entrepreneurs are those who are not willing to quit. Just persist. What's your face about?
I thought it was Monday.
It is Monday.
It's Monday. The way you're preaching had me thinking it was Sunday morning right now.
Can I get an amen?
Ken, you got about 50 million amens in the chat just now.
Brock, you're funny.
I had to turn off my camera. I was sweating. I was just amen, just wow.
Took him to church, I did.
Brett Shuford said, serve in church. Absolutely.
Brett.
100%.
Okay.
Amen. Good. I'm gonna grab my Bible.
Sometimes you need to hear it, you know?
Yeah.
Can I go on a little tiny tangent? Because I know
you gotta go on a tangent?
Just a little tiny one.
Okay.
I know that we have some network marketers on, and I saw I just watched the documentary on LuLaRoe. Now, forget about how you feel about network marketing. I'm not in network marketing, but we serve a lot of people in network marketing. And even if we didn't, I watched that documentary and I saw all these people saying like, I lost money. I'm sorry. That's true of any business. Pick a business, pick a franchise. If you want to start a business, most people aren't going to be successful. Most people are going to lose money. That's just a fact, regardless of the industry. You know, when you start anything, you enter in, there's risk. There's risk involved in getting married. There's risk involved in going to college. There's risk involved in the degree that you choose. There's risk involved in the franchise you decide to start. There's risk involved in the car that you choose to buy. And so you have to do the work, but there's always risk involved. And there's always persistence and education and determination that can overcome those things and make your chances of success much greater. And that's, sorry, enough about that. All right.
Oof. Wow. I don't even know how to follow that up. So anyways, back to niche. Wow. But I can piggyback off of that and just say, speaking of network marketers, a very common question of network marketers is, should I focus on more of like the products and like what we offer, or should I focus on the business and like, do I invite people to my team and financially free? And what I would say is, which thing are you more obsessed with? What did you get involved for? If you joined this network marketing company because you love the idea of working from home and building your own business and being an entrepreneur, you focus on that. If you built your business or you joined this network marketing company because you fell in love with the products and you're obsessed with maybe one product in particular, then that's what you should focus more on, is more on that side of things.
Yes, I would not say to focus on the, just to
clarify. Not the product, not the product. Yeah,
so
not necessarily the product, but the benefits or how that product can help a certain group. If you catch my
or the problem that it solves. Like, so I always ask people, no matter what it is, like whether it's, again, designing jewelry or training dogs or your network marketing organization, nobody wants to follow a business. We want to follow a solution. We want to follow something that helps. And so, like, even following a fashion account is a solution, right? Because it's like that's going to make me feel good. Nobody follows a business. No one's going to follow you because you're posting about your freaking shake all the time. No one cares about your essential oils. They don't care. What they care about is, how can this help me?
Yeah.
How does this benefit me? We follow accounts for the reasons that it benefits us. If you can't show people how it benefits them, then you're missing the boat. And if all you're doing is talking about the product, then what people assume you're doing is showing them how it benefits you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Powerful stuff. We're pretty much done with our slides. I just wanted to show everyone this really quickly. If you want us to review your profile, we can review your profile, and it's more than just your bio. It's everything that's in your profile, including some of your recent posts and hashtags. What we will not be doing in this bio review is we will not tell you if you picked the right niche or not. We're not going to review your profile and sit down with you one-on-one and help you come up with your niche, but we will review your work, right? We're not going to co-write the paper with you, but we'll grade the paper that you have written, if that makes sense. Get it when you get it. If you want us to review your profile, it's something we offer. Again, it's totally not necessary, totally not mandatory, but a lot of people do ask. I get messages all the time. They're like, hey, Brock, I'm an Insta Clubber. Can you check out my profile? And I'm like, yeah, just go to the shop in the Insta Club Hub. And it's the very first thing right now in the Insta Club Hub, and it's on sale right now. It's usually $99, and it's on sale at $59. So just log into the Insta Club Hub, head to the shop, and you'll see it. My IG profile review. Just wanted to plug that. And then also, because I know we're over an hour, just wanted to let everyone know when our next live training is. It's in about a week and a half. A week and a half. And it's
don't go.
We're
going to answer some more of your questions. Don't go yet, but write this down or take a screenshot of this so you don't forget.
Yep.
Do you want me to close out, or do you want me to answer their questions?
I understand that for some people that might be late. You East Coasters, you people in Europe, we'll try to change up the times in the future, and we like to kind of bounce around and do them at different times to appeal to all audiences. But as always, just like tonight, you have a recording of every training.
I think we're ready to go. I have a headache. How do I have a headache from this? Okay, you guys can unmute if you want to. I thought that was awesome. I hope you guys got some value from it. Does anybody, I essentially gave you that like rubric, if you will, earlier today. I don't know if you saw it under this event, of the who you serve and how you serve them, and like filling out the blanks of those sentences. So or do you guys want to give your thoughts? How do you want to run this? I was going to show you my Instagram because I was kind of revamping it last week. Still revamping it. I actually did purchase their IG bio review, so I can get some feedback from Brock's team. And it said it takes like 7 to 10 days to get a review, and I did it on Friday. So how do you guys want to do this?
You can show us your page. I like this reminder of their niche. I follow their podcast, and they talk about it every other month or something like that. And it's always, I'm like, oh, I've heard all this. I kind of forgot all about it. So it's a great, thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, it's funny. I follow Brock on Instagram, and I've watched him, he talks about, he gained over 100,000 followers in 3 months. And I've watched him. It was funny how I've been following him since he was in college, like, I mean, years, like his very first thing that he did for $30 about Instagram, something years and years ago, paid for his trainings or whatever. And it was funny when she was talking about how he used to post about football, and he used to post about his relationship, and he used to post about all these things. And he switched and switched to only focusing on helping people build, their Instagram and stuff. And it's insane. And I have been like totally sitting on the fence. Like, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this, but I really love making the funny reels that have nothing to do with my niche. I really love posting a really good photo of me that has nothing to do with, or something. And it's like, and I keep saying to myself, why am I not growing? Why am I not growing? And so I'm like, I don't know why I gotta be in my bonnet or whatever it is, Lori. And last week, and I was like, well, I had a mindset session, coach session and everything. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm trying to build this business and I'm not listening to one of the experts in the business telling me exactly what I need to do. So I opened up my Insta Club Hub membership, which I've had for maybe I've been a member since it first came out. So I don't even know if it's been a year, whatever, paying the $27 a month, barely even used it until last Friday. And instantly I went to my page and I reworked my profile pic. So I want to show you, that's super simple. I reworked my bio. I created a new Google form for people to get a freebie from me. And right before we did this call, I went and was looking at my insights, because that's another thing I didn't do, was look at my insights. And just since Friday, and I don't know when the week starts over, because you can look at your insights from 7 days ago or 14 days or 30. And so I went 7 days ago. So I'm assuming maybe it's just 7 days from today. But it's insane, the growth already. And I'm not talking about followers. I'm talking about how many people are seeing my stuff now that I've niched at. 84% of my interactions were from non-followers, like an 84% growth in the last 7 days. Like, the amount of people seeing my stuff was doubled in the last 7 days from the last 30. Like, it's crazy. And so really quickly, let's move this over here. So if I go, here. No, here. Oh wait, yeah, that's where I want to go. So I really tried to think about what I wanted, because when we tell you guys, talk about coaching and talk about your workouts and talk about the 5 things that make you you type thing, which we've been talking about for a really long time. And I think it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying this is what I'm seeing and hearing works the best, like the quickest, the best, where you don't, get burnout and want to quit because the people, you're having to do so much work going after people versus them coming to you. And so it was funny. I actually, like Shalene said, I was almost up to 7,900 followers. I was at the cusp, and I just keep going back, like underneath and then one over and underneath. And I've actually lost followers since I've switched to this niche, which she was talking about. You might lose people that were coming to you for other things, but I don't care. I honestly don't care, as long as the people that are coming to me are the ones that I can actually help and are, like she said, are going to turn into a customer and what they become a customer, they're having a chance of becoming a coach on my team and helping other people change their lives. So I thought about me and the person that I was before coaching, or even before Beachbody and things like that, and the things that I struggle with. And I had no idea how to take care of myself. Self-care is huge for me, and for so long, I thought it was selfish, like so selfish. Oh, all these other moms, because all the other moms that I know, not in my Beachbody world, but in my real world, they don't take care of themselves. They don't make themselves a priority. They don't do personal development. They don't go get their nails done. They don't even get their hair done. They don't do things, and that's not everybody's thing. But like when my friend tells me she hasn't got her hair cut in over a year and a half because she just can't find the time to go schedule a freaking hair appointment. I'm like, you don't even work, and your kids go, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I really want to show people how that making self-care, that it's vital for you to live a happy, healthy life. And when you, as a mom, when your kids are 18 and out of the house, what kind of life do you want left over? And so, and I'm still revamping. Like I said, I sent my thing in, but my group of people, and I was even kind of trying to niche it down even more, but I help mamas over 40 get their groove back. And she said, what does that actually mean? So I gotta be more specific with simple self-care habits. I've helped hundreds of mamas make themselves a priority. That's my number one thing, is helping women make themselves a priority, put them back on their priority list. The thing that I sent, I think actually went into a little more detail, and this was in their training, but the first sentence is supposed to be, or the first line or first sentence is who we help. And then the second, who we help and how we help them. So I help 40 plus mamas get their groove back with simple self-care habits. That's who and how. And then you show your expertise or your proof. And I just picked, because I haven't written a book. I haven't been published in an article, or I don't have, 200,000 followers or something, or I don't have, whatever. I've helped hundreds of mamas make themselves a priority over the last 8 years, right? So you can kind of, decide what that looks like for you. And then the third line was supposed to be something that, where is that message? I posted in the Facebook group. Oh, I think I had it up here, but since I got out of this stuff is insane, you guys. It's absolutely insane. Oops.
Back and forth over, but now I'm a firm called
On Instagram, when and it's a link for getting people.
I mean, it's your tagline. It's your
Okay. So your tagline, your mission or your tagline is the first line. Your credibility, that's how many people you've helped. Have you been published? Have you been, did you, if you're doing health and fitness, did you win the Beachbody Challenge, or did you win, submit your results and, whatever, something that shows your credibility. Your call to action. What do you want them to do? So this is where I've gone back and forth. Sometimes I'll put my Google form to a challenge we're doing. Sometimes I'll do, just get in touch with me. I am taking it back, because if you heard them say we don't sell, you sell in your stories or in your DMs, not on your page. I want to just provide value, tons of value on my page, so that they want to connect with me in my stories and in my DMs. So my call to action, my link there is I'm going to give out, I didn't even create this yet. I literally just put up the Google form. So when somebody fills it out, I'll be like, oh, I have to create this 5 free self-care tips. So I'm going to create a 1-pager, nothing fancy, nothing crazy. Don't even know if it'll have a cute little graphic on it. That'll just be 5 free self-care tips. So when they fill out my Google form, they go here and they get this for free. There's nothing that they have to do to get this except for click on the link and fill it out. I get their email, I get their name. So I'm also building my email list, because if Instagram and Facebook go down again, I still have their information. And then I'll email them my free 5 self-care tips, or I'll send, if it's a Google or a Google Docs, I can send it to them in Instagram. And then they've gotten something of value from me that I hope that they will use, and then continue to follow me for more tips. Okay, you always want to keep them coming. So you could give a free meal plan. You could give, 5-day meal plan, or whatever you decide. And I hope we can share kind of what you guys are thinking for your niches. But that's really what your bio should look like. And it's funny, I tried to change my name up here. You want this to be something searchable. And so I changed it. Once you change it, I want to make sure you know that you cannot change it for 2 weeks. So as I was playing around, I changed it to Badass Mom Expert, and my bio was a little bit different. And then I was like, no, I really want to focus on self-care. So I want to go up here and change it to either Badass Self-Care something with self-care in it, so that they can, so when people search self-care, my name's gonna come up. So this is not a good example. It should say something like Kelly dash badass self-care mom expert, or just Kelly dash self-care mom expert, or mom self-care expert, or something like that. This is not a good, this is a bad example, because I didn't know I couldn't change it after I was playing around with it. So, and I will say from about, I mean, I started talking about self-care pretty much probably right around here. And these last, so like these last posts were pretty much, I try to relate them all back in some way to self-care or a self-care habit.
So Kelly, I have a question. Does that mean that you can't do those funny reels anymore?
So it doesn't I don't want, I'm not trying to be Shalene and Brock, but like they said, they don't make the rules. You can do whatever you want. But one of the things that Brock said to me, and this was, or what I listened to him say, like he was talking directly to me, when he would do all those funny dance videos that he used to do, people would end up, and he would mix them in with his other stuff, and they'd come to his page thinking he was a funny dance person, like doing all these funny dance reels. And the minute he started doing his Instagram stuff, he would lose all his followers. And so it's neither here nor there if that's bad, I guess. But I think the point being is, when you choose your niche and you decide what you're going to focus on, you need to truly go after that one thing for 60, 90 days. Because if you're doing several things at a time or filtering in, are you really going to know where your followers are, what they're coming to your page for? Are they coming to your page for the funny videos? Or are they coming to you because of the thing that you believe you're an expert on and can help them with? Does that make sense? So like if you can get your dog in a video like that has something to do with self-care, like my dog, when I had my one dog when I was in my old marriage, and like was my support animal, like that was my self-care, was spending time with my dog by myself, so like if you can figure out how to incorporate it into your niche, then I think it's fine. Or every once in a while. I just think while you're trying to rebrand, you need to, or stick to a niche, you need to really stick to that niche. And then do those, you can share funny videos, like those funny, maybe you're not making them, but you're sharing them in your stories. So people know you have a sense of humor, and this is the stuff that you find funny. Share them in your stories, and things like that. Because it sucks. I have a lot, but I now go, it almost seems easier to go, oh, I think my dad's right. It almost seems easier now to go into reels, and all the reels I look at, I go, oh, I like the sound, or I like this, whatever. How can I make this reel about self-care, or add a tip or something? Because instead of like trying to think of, how can I make this about fitness or self-care or coaching or all these other ideas, it's just one. It's just one. And it's really, it's like the creativity part of me is, or creative part of me has a lot of fun with that. I think reels are easier to create talking about one subject than static posts, to be honest. But so does anybody want to share? Oh, do you want me to share about the profile pic? Or do you guys care about that right now? Or I can look at people's. Lori's is great. I want to teach you guys how to get rid of the background. That's a great photo. It's bright. It's right on her face. All you see is that we just have to crop out that background. So it's just her and no busyness, which is super easy to do on Canva. I might have to do. Rebecca, same thing. Perfect. Great photo. It'll be even that much better when you crop out so it's just the background. I'll do a video to show you guys how to do this. It literally takes 5 seconds to take off the background of your photo. Okay. Let's look. You guys throw out, I don't know if there's anything in the chat. Oops, Shell Bogart. Just going through, I'm just gonna do this now because we're on here. So Michelle, I would, for yours, the photo of your face is great. I would bring it out so it's more of your face, not your body. Because they want to be able to see who you are, see your eyes, like you're looking at people. Like you're literally like they're looking into your soul. And then we can do the same thing with the background. We're gonna all have the same blank background, but Sarah, what's yours? Do you not have IG?
I do. I honestly don't know what it is though.
Okay, I'll do Sandy. Sandy, which one is yours? The Sandy Sandbomb? This one? As fit as it gets? That's great. That's a great photo. Again, the only thing I would say is we can get the background. Oh, somebody's calling me. We can get the background off there. The other thing I will say, and I am going to change this, but I couldn't change it until after they do my review, or they won't know which account to review. They say to have your username as your name. As your name. And so I will be changing mine to my name. And they couldn't do Kelly.Posner. I had to do Kelly and Posner because there wasn't even an underscore. But I will be changing it to my name. And I'm trying to remember exactly why they said that. I think it's for searchable reasons, but I can't remember.
I thought I heard somebody say that you just needed to have your name in there someplace.
I'm just saying what I got from the training. There's a lot of people say different things. I really listen to Brock and Shalene. Those are just ones I choose. And so in their optimizations of their bio, they really said when you're creating your profile to do your name or as close to your name if it hasn't been taken. So that's just where I'm going from. But
my guess would be, from knowing that Reels is the way Instagram is going, that when you see you see the reel, you see their like handle name on it, but you don't see their bio. And so like there are certain people that I've seen that I'm like, I want to find them again, but I don't know what their name is. And I can't remember because they had some crazy handle name.
Yeah, maybe. Alexis, great photo. Again, in your background, you don't really need to. Your background is completely plain. So you don't
My gray kitchen.
Yeah, but that's perfect. It doesn't need to be anything different. Did I get everybody on this call? I'm trying to make sure. Okay. Sarah, did you figure out what yours was?
Yeah, it's S White Cotton. That's my
I
last
think I've
name.
tagged you before, but
It's
There you
a
are.
third. Yeah.
so again, great photo. I would probably, it's a little dark. So unless you could lighten it up with a preset, or you have a different photo. I mean, like, I'm just saying like, but the photo there is great. I would, when you go to edit your profile, you can actually zoom out so you can bring your face closer to the front, and then we can take off the background. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's super easy. But again, working with these bios is going to be, because like, this is how it used to be. And this is why things changed so drastically. Used to say, put the things up there that people would connect to you, like that would be like, oh, I can relate to that person because, they are a wife or a boy mom, those things. That's what we were taught to do. And now, because we are trying to build a business and attract people that want our help and want our business, right? We need to teach them what we can do for them. We don't just want friends on Instagram anymore, right? We don't just want, we do, but we want business friends. And so it's like, we want people to know what we can do for them, or they're going to be like, I don't need any more friends. I actually need somebody to help me with my health and wellness, or I need somebody to help me with self-care, right? They have enough friends, or they don't, and they just, come here. So does anybody have questions about their niche? Were you challenged by that, by the questions they were asking? Do you want us to help? Does everybody kind of understand and want to like work on this as homework, and then we can kind of come back and critique? Would that be better?
Yeah, I have ideas, but I just never know how to word them so it sounds good. Like I'm a addict. I love food and I have like Hashimoto's. So I feel like I should do something like, and I love to go to Trader Joe's and take pictures of food, so I just don't know I don't know if that should be a niche or.
I think just from that right there, helping, it might even be like helping, because there's two things, food addicts and Hashimoto's. I feel like those are almost two completely separate. I don't know if you could niche it down like food addicts with Hashimoto's, because like as a food addict with Hashimoto's, you've got like helping women, because I'm assuming you just want to help women, women with Hashimoto's recover from food addiction or something like through whatever you do, through certain diet, whatever diet you're doing or whatever, simple diet tips or something, to help recovering food addicts that struggle with Hashimoto or something like that. Because I can only imagine that is super hard to navigate in a healthy way, like super hard to navigate. So I think that would be a really fun, and so sadly, so many people suffer from Hashimoto's. Like that is a huge market.
Hi, Sarah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Do you drink Shakeology?
I do.
And do you have any issues with it?
I feel like there's probably something in there that my body doesn't like, because when I went on AIP and got rid of everything, I had so much energy and I felt great, and I still feel like poop, but I don't know if it's because I keep kind of cheating and like having a little bit of gluten here or a little dairy there. So
Okay.
I've been weak. So now I'm trying to be strong and do the portion fix, and it's starting today.
And so Sarah, what did you have results with Beachbody stuff? Like a transformation?
I think I had more with the AIP diet, but I feel like doing Beachbody stuff and like working out and like being part of a group and having support is more helpful. So I've lost a little bit of weight and I have a little more muscle definition from working out, because before I didn't work out at all.
Because I'm trying to think of like you could in terms of your credibility, like you can be like whatever, have you rid any of your issues that were related to Hashimoto's since starting a new or healthier way of eating or whatever, or workout, you know what I'm saying? Like think about that credibility. Like I know Lori's, your credibility is you lost 40 pounds on the freaking road, I mean, Lori's, I think her, and tell me if I'm totally wrong, Lori, but yours is all about being healthy in your 60s, right? Retired women, yours could even be, snowbirds. I lost 40 pounds on the freaking road. Don't tell me you can't do this. That's your credibility. Same thing with Sandy, right? So yeah. So there's your credibility right there.
So Lori, do you have Hashimoto's too?
No, but one of my customers does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
She's a
have,
coach too.
yeah,
and
I have
she's-
hypothyroid.
Uh-huh.
You do?
That's what Hashimoto's comes out of, right? Hashimoto's is a greater version of hypothyroid, I think.
No idea.
I know I got diagnosed first with the hypo, and then they put me on medication, nothing worked. And then another doctor found out it was Hashimoto's. And then by changing my diet, now I'm not hypo anymore. I just have Hashimoto's, so I don't have to take medicine. So
Interesting.
wow.
Okay. So did we decide we want to take our homework and work on it? And what I would love for you guys to do, if you have questions, I'll post this recording for the team. And then like, if you're like want to practice, like, hey, give me feedback, just do it right underneath this, this video. Cause then, the people will be like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Like, watch the freaking video and then you'll know. And we can all give you feedback on, and again, I'm not an expert at this. I just know, I know we can all do better and optimize our bios to bring people to us. Like, wouldn't that be a dream if all of the, and I don't mean the people coming to us going, I want to start, but all the people that start following us are people that we want to help and that actually want our help, right? Are looking for what we have to offer. And I think, that's what was really cool is like, I'm choosing self-care, and there's so many more self-care tips than just working out and eating well, right? So I'm going to share about all my self-care tips and things that have worked for me. But then when I start chatting with these people, I'll be like, well, this is what I do for the health and the wellness part of it, the health and nutrition. I use Beachbody supplements and I use Beachbody programs at home. That's how I'm going to bring them back to our business model, right? But I'm getting them hooked, and that sounds yucky, but it's true. Like with personal development, sleep tips, going out with your girlfriends or getting your nails done or making sure you get your hair done or making the husband stay home so you can have time off or whatever, whatever that looks like. So I just think it's really cool. I was totally geeking out on Friday. So and then all of a sudden this training popped up. I was like, this is perfect. So I'm so glad that you guys joined, and I got to go hang out with my dad and my husband because he's leaving to go back to Arizona. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything else that you need.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.